Shalom, mi nombre es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Active Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada de 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeaj, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeaj, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro, para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom. Shalom, mi nombre es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Hacktivac Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada de 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeach, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeach, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom. nombre es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Hacktivac Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada, 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeach, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeach, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro, para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone. Hope I got my microphone turned on. I've got a few announcements before we get started. First off, last Tuesday night, after we finished, it takes usually a couple hours that I have to finish up. I have to render the recording, then I have to send it so that it can get posted. And it usually takes a while. And I have a few other things I had to do. I got finished about 11:30, and my computer literally it went into updates and it died. And I want to thank Nick Scarpinato Jr., who I drove to Dallas. He got me back up and running, and still had have some challenges, but it's all right. Now we got a message from Rabbi Greenbaum's group. Been asking for prayer for him, and he is back home now. He's facing some more surgery, but he's recuperating and everything is going well. So I wanted to give that really good and positive report. We have a really close friend. We consider her and have for years as part of our family. And she's been in bad health for years. Her name is Diana McClure. And for over a year, we have not been able to contact her. And she was in a, I don't want to say an assisted living, but it was a higher degree than that, but not exactly a nursing home. But at any rate, I received a message from her and I was able to get a hold of her today. She's in very, very bad health, and please be praying for her. She's got a number of issues that we're trying to work on, and we spent quite a bit of the day kind of working through these things, trying to see if we could resolve some problems for her. But please be praying for her. Got a great report from Grayson Jeffords, and he is doing very well. Of course, he's still, is still very sick. He still has cancer, but he is daily getting better and better. And so we want to thank God for that, and we want to pray that will continue. Now, during this week, I had a lot going on with the computer and just everything. We have major events that started unfolding Sunday morning. And I got a call from Rico Cortez that a Red Heifer candidate had been born in Israel. He had been called from Rabbi Mordecai Persof's staff. At any rate, Rico's been boasting a lot on the Red Heifer and so forth. I spoke to Rabbi Persoff had a long conversation with him yesterday. And I've got a lot that I'm going to present on that tonight. There have been a lot of articles that have been coming out, a lot of comments, and the internet is alive. But I want to share some of that with you. In the meantime, we have where President Trump is, I believe on the 19th, set to reach a peace deal with Iran. And so it's been anything but a dull, boring time. It's been full of events. We have a tropical storm that is coming in on us, and during the night it's supposed to hit here. So excuse me, please be praying for us in that. We have had massive rains in the last few days, and the Houston area is totally soaked. Okay, we're going to get into it, and let me kind of get some things set up here. We'll go with it and see what we can come up with. All right, let me share this. And I am going to have to use my projector, which will have to kind of pause for me to get that set up. I literally got finished with this just a few minutes before we went live. Okay, so I titled this The Good and the Bad. And that's how I would term it. I think that it's good that the Red Heifer candidate was born. It's not a red heifer, it is a red calf, okay? And it's going to become significant. And at the same time, we have a peace deal on the table, which I think is bad, okay? So I have quite a few slides. I got 47 slides. So let's go through them and Oh, I understand now. All right. So this is a picture of the calf that was born. And it was born in the Galilee. You're going to read about the everything that is happening here. The man in the middle is Rabbi Azariah Ariel. I personally do not know him. However, I know his father. His father was one of my great um, inspirations and teachers. Okay, and he is the leading halakhic authority at the present time on the Red Heifer. All right. So this is an article that came out. And I'll be able to tell you. I think this is one that came out from Rabbi Azariah's group. It came out from what we'll see has been established. There will be numbers of points that come up as we go through that I think are very significant. So it starts off in the shadow of the war in the north. A pure red heifer was born in a dairy farm in the Galilee mountains. Shai Givon, who specializes in artificial insemination in dairy farms and cattle farms on behalf of the Farion Company, discovered that a completely red heifer was born in a dairy farm in the north of the country from the insemination he performed on a dairy cow 9 months ago. The cow, as mentioned, was inseminated with a red Angus breed. Usually, due to the dominance of the black color that dominates dairy cows, this type of crossbreeding produces completely black or brown black offspring. So immediately, this was not something to be expected. They were caught totally by surprise in this. In this case, a completely brown heifer was born, and the incident surprised Shai very much. Shai is not new to the field of red cows. About 15 years ago, a red calf was born in his herd, but it was disputed after it had black hairs on the edges of its body, ears, and tail. Over the years, Shai has gained experience and is now a member of the team at the National Institute for Red Cow Search. Okay, so this in Hebrew is called Makom Para Adamah. Or not Adonai, I wrote that wrong, but Adamah. Para Adamah. Para Adamah means red heifer. I'm going to go ahead and change that. All right, Adamah. All right. We'll see exactly what this is. Okay, so what it means is the Para Adamah Institute. In the English, they put it in the National Institute of the Red Heifer. The National Institute was established to be a home for all specialists in the field of red cows to work under one roof, creating a national scale project. Among the team members is Rabbi Azariah Ariel of the Temple Institute. You saw him in the picture a moment ago, who has published books on the subject and has been researching it for over a decade. Menachem Weber, coach of the Israeli national team, is David, is the Institute's spokesman. Yehuda Ben Zvi of the Temple Knowledge Seminary, which has been inspiring the desire for the temple throughout the country for 30 years. All of them having gained halakhic and practical experience and specialization over the years, leading to the breakthroughs in the field. A pure red calf with no white hairs at all is rare, but not unheard of, especially in Canada, where hundreds of thousands of red Angus cattle are raised. The formidable challenge is to find a cow that has reached the age of 2 years, and specifically, excuse me, that has to be 2 years and 8 days. Now, in the scripture, it says it has to be 3 years old. However, at 8 days, it's considered 1 year. So 2 years and 8 days makes it halakhically a 3-year-old cow. And by the way, up until that point is called an eglah. Okay, an eglah means a calf. When it becomes 3 years old, 2 years and 8 days, it becomes a parah, a red cow. Now, without getting into too much Hebrew, the masculine, a par, is a bull. Para is a cow. Okay. A pure red calf with no white hairs. Okay. Let's go to the formidable challenge is to find a cow that has reached the age of 2 years without white hairs, which constitutes the halakhic watershed between a heifer and a cow. Genetic and practical research has led to the conclusion that these hairs grow mainly due to a lack of melanin. In the same way as senile hairs in the human body, the challenge is compounded by the American law that requires a number tag to be placed in the ear of each heifer, which makes the task of finding a suitable heifer without a tag almost impossible. To deal with these challenges, the National Institute for Red Cow Research, the Makom Paradama, has established a Beit Midrash of scholars who are knowledgeable in the field. Okay, so Beit Midrash, we have a specialized team that are part of this Red Heifer Institute that are going to specialize in studying all of the halakha concerned with that heifer, who discuss and provide a decision on the practical questions of the mitzvah, the commandment, while consulting with all the great men of Israel in the field. All this in order to give the project a broad halakhic backing. So this is very significant because it's not one particular group of the Orthodox, it's across the stream of orthodoxy. All right. Head of the Beit Midrash, Rabbi Zoria Ariel, believes that electrolysis can be used to remove these hairs, provided that the cow was born 100% pure and the hairs are still few and scattered. Genetics also have implications. The calf's parents have a tendency to be black, which reduces the chance of white hair growing when in fact her hair is red. But God's ways are hidden. Now, all of this 100% is their article. I'm just making comment, but what you read is what they wrote. I have not changed anything here. Unfortunately, near the birth, a farm worker placed a tag in the calf's ear, which caused her a deformity. Shai was the first to understand the calf's potential and took care to remove the tag 8 days after it was placed. Now, I wondered about just the implication of the 8 days. I mean, 8 days are very significant in birth. The cow is considered 1 year old at 8 days. Number two, that is the time that we circumcise human males. And so I'm not trying to draw any conclusions. I'm just pointing out that when you see numbers, you want to look at what do these numbers mean and what does it link to. Just last week, Rabbi Zoria Ariel performed a comprehensive examination of the calf and found that she was pure in her redness and was happy to see the rapid recovery rate of the deformity in her ears. Therefore, we chose to name the calf Tamimah, in prayer that she would indeed be found pure in her body and in the redness of her hair. Now, what this word means is perfect, okay? And so, now the Beit Midrash will be required to add the syllabus of discussions, a discussion on the definition of recovery of a fetal defect in a red cow in order to define the status of the heifer, a discussion that Daf Yomi students encountered only last week. Daf Yomi, you study in Daf Yomi, you study a page of Talmud a day and so forth, okay? The Beit Midrash, which was established only about a month ago. Now, this is amazing. You need to mark this down. We have the Beit Midrash, we have the Makom Para Adama, which have just all recently been put together, and has about 20 Torah scholars, has already managed to decide on 2 significant issues. Now, this next slide will be significant. In the article, it is basically there's a sentence in between, and you see at the top of the slide, what we do when there is still no Sanhedrin? The first, this is their comment regarding the manner in which the pure Kohen received the cow's blood by hand and not in a vessel. This Cohen is not a fictional one, but a real figure, thanks to the devotion of priestly families who maintained his purity from birth. The Cohen was born at home, never visited a cemetery or a hospital, and consulted before each annual trip during his childhood with Rabbi Zaria Ariel of the Temple Institute, who accompanied the family. Now, let me stop for a moment and explain this. He has to be pure, meaning he's free from corpse impurity. Okay. And so if he's in a hospital, you have immediately a hospital is filled with corpse impurity. A cemetery, to go to a cemetery for any reason, for any purpose, is filled with corpse impurity. So, in other words, in order to keep this particular Cohen from birth from contracting corpse impurity, special regulations had to be employed and strictly followed. Okay. The second discussion necessarily concerned the presence of the Sanhedrin in the commandment of the cow. During the time of the temple, the Sanhedrin was the supreme court for Torah law and the decisive national representative in every legal religious field, according to the Beit Midrash. When there is no Sanhedrin for Israel, the mitzvah should not be avoided without them. But it is necessary to do everything possible to create broad public support among the people and the rabbis to enable the observance of the mitzvah of the red cow as a national event that restores purity to Israel after 2,000 years of exile. I want to stop and talk. In my conversation with Rabbi Persall, he was really amazed. I mean, he was amazed at the birth of this cat. We didn't talk a lot about the tag. We mentioned it, but it was not something that we really discussed. The reason we didn't discuss it is because he kind of took hold of the conversation and he directed me. First off, I had told him that, whatever they, however we can help, we're going to help. There has been, all of you know the story of the 5 heifers and all the controversy that arose over the heifers and the practice run on a disqualified heifer. And I know she was disqualified. I mean, I've seen the evidence myself that she was disqualified. And the heifer was carried up north and slaughtered up north, not at Jerusalem. And the ashes were literally left sitting on the ground. And the Christian man that had sold the cattle to them came and gathered ashes and then started saying this was a valid red heifer slaughtering, and went from there. The story just got worse and worse and worse. The red heifer has one function, has one purpose. That purpose is to cleanse corpse impurity. Everything has to be done precisely in the correct manner. Everything has to be the right location, and to have the qualified priest, have to have the rituals that are involved. And I say plural rituals. We have the slaughtering of the heifer. We have the gathering of the ashes. We have the ceremony of cleansing, not only the people, but the temple and the people. And everything has to be done precisely as we have it. Okay, and so it is for, again, once again, it is only for the purpose of dealing with corpse impurity. It is not for the dealing of sicknesses, whatever they be, from the flu to cancer to blindness to deafness to, it's not about any of those things. But yet these ashes were being widely proclaimed, that they were being put on people. People were being anointed with them, um, and that there were all types of healings and so forth. And it was a big mess. Okay. And so that led to the establishing of the Makom Para Adama. All announcements will come forth from them. There is a spokesman that it will issue those statements. We will only deal with statements that come from uh, this authorized source. Okay, and so whatever I present, I told Rabbi Persoff that we would not go to the right or we would go to the left. We were going to go right down the middle as to what they basically put out. Okay, now in all of this, he was talking to me about the last 2 months. In the last 2 months, he said, I've never seen anything like it. That one after another thing has been happening, that temple awareness, temple consciousness, in the midst of a war, in the midst of daily attacks from Hezbollah, from mortars and drones and from missiles and everything else that was happening, while the world was blaming Israel for everything, the people of Israel began to talk in an unusual way, in a very significant way, about the temple. And it was on the lips of everyone, everywhere he went, he said. And so uh, there is a cry now. I believe, this is my opinion, but I believe based upon this article and based upon the things that he was saying, I believe that the big thrust that would be needed in order to have an establishment, the establishment of a Sanhedrin, get a great Sanhedrin. We have a Sanhedrin informing, but it has very little strength, has very little teeth. This rabbi over here, he does what he sees. This rabbi does what he sees, and that rabbi does what they see. And they see the Sanhedrin as another in a big group, and it has to change. It has to be that, yes, we have all these various groups of the Lubavitchers, the the modern Orthodox and so forth, but we have to have one supreme authority instituted by Hashem, as described in the scripture, that makes these decisions, and halakha is set. And I believe that this cow has everything to deal with that becoming a reality in our day, in our time, and in fact, in a very short while. So there's going to be a couple other things, but I want to tell you one that he said that just literally blew him away. Okay. I don't think he used the word blew away, but that's my expression of what he was saying. He said that they, about a month ago, they instituted a course. And this course was to teach students about the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, which would include the Red Heifer, which would include the Korbanot, which would include everything that you can imagine that dealt with the temple. And so they had a goal of 200,000 students. They didn't reach the goal. They reached 150,000 students. But that's not the amazing part. The amazing part is that it was the government of Israel that came to the rabbis, the Temple Institute, and other organizations, and they said, we need a course for the young people of this country on the Holy Temple. And you set it up. You supply whatever curriculum. You teach what you feel that needs to be taught to the public, and we will pay for it. And he said, this is the first time the government of Israel has done anything close to this. In the meantime, I showed a set of books. And this is the set here. There's 4 books in this. Yisod ve'shoresh ha'avodah. Okay, and it's on prayer in the temple and applying the principles of the temple. This just was published in the last month by Art Scroll. I have a book arriving tomorrow, and I understand it's I think a 600-page book. I might be wrong. That might be a 300-page book, but it's on the carbonate and on the offerings. And it was just published this week by Corn Publishers. Okay, so Art Scroll is all of a sudden publishing major works on the temple. Corn Publishers, the other big publishing, is Corn is actually bigger than Art Scroll. In the United States, Art Scroll is bigger, but Corn is bigger internationally. And they are coming out with books on the Holy Temple. We're coming up to the 3 weeks. We're coming up to the 17th of Tammuz, the fast of Tammuz, which 3 weeks later we have the 9th of Ab, and all focus turns, and a red heifer's born. Red heifer candidate. Okay. All right, we're going to go back to our slides, but I'm literally myself blown away by what is happening. All right, let's see. All right, so the second discussion this concerned the presence of the Sanhedrin and the commandment of the cow. During the time of the temple, the Sanhedrin was the Supreme Court for Torah law and the decisive national representative in every legal, religious field. According to the Beit Midrash, when there is no Sanhedrin for Israel, it goes forward and says, we need to do everything we can up to the point that a Sanhedrin is established. Okay, and that is where they are going. All right, but it is necessary to do everything possible to create broad public support among the people and the rabbis to enable the observance of the mitzvah of the red cow as a national event that restores purity to Israel after 2,000 years of exile. Now, before I go to the next slide, he also mentioned about the birth of the red cow in conjunction with the portion that was being read the week of her birth. Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. During the time of Israel's wanderings in the desert, the observance of the red cow commandment was not only a religious event, but a national transformation from the time of the generation that left Egypt to the generation that was in hand. A transformation that helped the generation that was in the land to overcome the burning memory of 38 years of wandering in the desert and prepare themselves for their historical destiny of entering the land under the leadership of Joshua. We too live in a historical period. Perhaps today the Red Cow Commandment is able to herald a national transformation from a period of pain and loss of a difficult war to a period of national prosperity, and prosperity that heralds the victory of the living, purification from the impurity of the dead. May we be worthy to purify our hearts to worship God in truth and be worthy of fulfilling the words of the prophet, and I will sprinkle pure water upon you, and you shall be clean. This is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 25. Now, you might have noticed in the last 2 slides, it says Parshat Shalach. And I think that after you see a couple pictures, here's your calf, and here's another calf. There's a problem that it was already mentioned, that the tag that was put in the ear of the cow. Okay, so here's the cow showing the tag, and Edgar Roberts posted this, and we have. I was unaware of this, that you have in the ear of the cow. Not all of a baby's cow ear is made of cartilage. While the main external flap of the ear, the pinna, is supported by flexible elastic cartilage, the inner and middle ear structures contain actual bone and tissue. Here is the breakdown of what a calf's ear is made of. The outer ear, the pinna, made almost entirely of cartilage, which is why the ear can fold and swivel, because it is cartilage. Farmers easily pierce it shortly after birth to insert identification ear tags. Then you have the middle and inner ear. Deep inside the skull, the ear contains tiny, delicate bones, the hammer, anvil, and stirrup, and the hard bone structures that protect the hearing and balance. Okay. Now, I'm not going to try to make a judgment on this. Okay, I don't know enough to. I just want to supply you with the information so that you can see what's going on. All right. This is we're going to talk about the ear tag of the heifer. Many people express concern over the fact that the recently born cow had been given an ear tag before its potential as a red heifer candidate was realized. The ear tag is, of course, that she was given at birth and the tag was removed on the 8th day. The ear tag is, of course, the standard method of identifying cattle on commercial farms. Tagging a red heifer candidate will create a deformity in the cow's ear and disqualify the heifer. As a kosher red heifer must be free of all wounds or deformities. Now, okay, if you have a wound and the wound leaves a scar, it disqualifies. Okay, so all right, so in the case of the recently born red heifer, the tag was quickly removed, allowing for the wound to heal. Rabbi Zoria Ariel, the Temple Institute, who has spent decades studying the laws concerning the red heifer, conducted a thorough examination of the heifer, as he does all red heifer candidates, to check for non-red hairs, scars, or deformities. I'm going to have a picture of him inspecting, by the way, in a moment. And again, everything that you're reading is what came out from the forum of the. This is their article, the Makom Pra Adama. All right, he is encouraged that the heifer's ear is healing and won't leave a scar or deformity. Should he discover upon a follow-up inspection that the ear hasn't healed properly, then the heifer will be disqualified. Concerning every potential red heifer, Rabbi Zoria performs multiple inspections over time to determine whether or not the heifer is still a viable candidate. This is why a kosher red heifer can suddenly be disqualified if, upon inspection, the rabbi discovers more than one non-red hair or any other disqualifying mark. Before we go forward, let me stop. I was involved in raising money for the purchase of a red heifer candidate years ago. And we raised the down payment was $10,000. We raised it. We went out to the location where she was on an Israeli cowboy farm. And Rabbi Chaim Richmond, who was with the Temple Institute at that time, he met me when we got there. And he told me, I think she's going to disqualify. And he had hairs in his pocket that he had pulled out, and there were more upon the heifer. They had called together leading authorities on the heifers, on the subject of the heifers, and they examined the heifers and he called me later in the evening and said, yes, we disqualified. Okay. And that was the end of it. But all right. In the attached photo, not connected to the recently born red heifer. Okay, so you're not going to see the red heifer, but we'll see where Rabbi Azariah is using a magnifying glass to inspect one of the original 5 that came over. When at last the red heifer is found suitable for its ashes to be used to purify, it will have passed multiple inspections and been found to be bearing only red hairs and having no deformities. Now here's this is the calf. All right. Here, well, we do see this is where he is inspecting this calf, by the way. And you see that is a super magnifying glass. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to talk about if you recall, I'm going to run back real quick. We have right here, Parshat Shalach, okay? What you might not realize, let's stop sharing for a moment, but during the year, at certain points, we have where in Israel, they read a different Parsha than everyone outside of Israel. And so this article, which is from Chabad, I didn't put the entire article, but I put the most significant parts, explains why they read a different Parsha. Okay, now why is this important here? Because one of the things that Rabbi Persol told me, he said, one of the most amazing things is that the cow was born at Parshat Shalach. Okay. But at that point, it was 2 weeks previous. Okay. 2 weeks previous. And we just read Parshat Shalach last week. Okay. So Israel was reading a portion different from us at the time the heifer was born. Okay. So let's get the explanation first on why. All right. Once in several years, for a few weeks, different Torah portions are read in Israel and in the diaspora. This year, 2026, which is 5786 on the Jewish calendar, happens to be one of those years. Why does this happen? Okay. Once in several years. Okay. Not every year this happens, but once in several years and only for a few weeks. Okay. Why does this happen? Here's the basic idea. The Torah is apportioned into 54 readings. Each Shabbat, we read a portion according to a predetermined order. When Shabbat coincides with the holiday, we substitute the reading of the weekly portion with a section from the Torah that relates to that holiday. In the diaspora, the holidays of Sukkot and Shemini Atzeret, Passover, and Shavuot are celebrated for an extra day, known as the second holiday of the diaspora. This year, Shavuot began on Friday, which was actually Thursday night. And the 7th of Sivan was Shabbat. While the Jews in Israel read the portion of Naso, diaspora Jews read the portion associated with the second day of Shavuot. The following week, Israeli Jews were reading Baha'aloteka, while diaspora Jews were still up to Naso. That's how diaspora Jews ended up behind by one portion. Okay? It might be technical, but you can catch it. But no worries. When we in the diaspora will soon catch up with our Israeli brethren. How? Because on the Shabbat of the 12th of Tammuz this year, June 27th, those in Israel read the Torah portion of Balak. And we will read two portions, Hukai and Balak joined together. Once again, all the Jewish people will be in sync. Now, why am I making a big deal of this? Because the Parshat Shalach, it's about the spies that were sent into the land. And you know, that's in chapter 13 of Bamidbar, Numbers. And the spies come and they're in the land for 40 days and they come and we have 12 spies. 10 of them give an evil report. They say, oh, everything God promised is there. It's a good land. It's a land flowing with milk and honey, and it's just like God described, but we have this big but. There are Anakim in the land, there are giants in the land, and there are strong fortifications, and the Hittite, and there's the Canaanite, all the various peoples, and they're going to eat our lunch. I'm paraphrasing, if we go in. But God told them to go in. And God told them that he would be with them. And God had revealed himself repeatedly. It was strong. The people believed the lie. They said, we can't go in, we can't go in. And so, consequently, for 40 years, they're going to spend in the wilderness. So, what does that have to do with a red heifer? Why did Rabbi, why did the rabbi say, the most amazing thing is that this calf was born as they started to read Parshat Shalach. Okay? So, all right. So here, this is the immediate context of the Parshat. Shalach, Parshat Shalach, Numbers 13-15, is remembered primarily for the episode of the spies. The 12 spies investigate the land of Israel, can bring an evil report. The people lose faith. God decrees that the generation of Exodus will die in the wilderness. Entry into the land is delayed for 40 years. At its heart, Shalach is about a failure to transition, this is important, from redemption from Egypt to the sanctification of the land through faithful obedience. At its heart, Shalach is about a failure. Yeah. Let me read that again. At its heart, Shalach is about a failure to transition from redemption from Egypt to the sanctification of the land through faithful obedience. A red heifer, by contrast, is one of the necessary means by which Israel can become purified from corpse impurity. To Mamet, corpse impurity, and therefore thereby participate fully in the temple worship. Thus, one obvious symbolic connection is Shalach represents the generation that could not enter the land and realize the covenantal idea. The Paradama represents purification and preparation for restoring that ideal. Then the Shalach contains the commandment of tzitzit. Last week I taught on this. Speak to the children of Israel and tell them to make tzitzit, fringes, on the corners of their garments. It's a tzitzit passage. That's Bamidbar 15:38. The tzitzit passage concludes, you shall remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them. The juxtaposition is significant. The spies saw the land but failed to remember God's promises. The tzitzit serve as a constant reminder to fulfill God's commandments. Several commentators note that Shalach moves from seeing wrongly, the spies, what they saw, to seeing rightly, the seat. The red heifer may then symbolize another form of restored covenant fidelity, purification, enabling obedience. Interestingly, many temple activists also emphasize the restoration of Tekelet. Oh, that was my topic last week. Seeing both Tzitzit and Paradama as commandments that have re-entered Jewish consciousness in anticipation of a future temple. Now, that part blew me away because that was my message last week. God restored the Tekelet. And in restoring the Tekelet, you had to have that for the temple. God, whether this heifer become this calf becomes a valid candidate or not, or she's disqualified, it has awakened the Jewish people. It's awakened the Jewish people in the midst of one of the most terrible times of the history of Israel. So, now, didn't put in all of this article, but I'm going to suggest that you read it. Okay, this is from Mishnah Walk. This was written by Victor Schultz. And I've got another article. Let me stop. I'm going to show it to you. I did not have enough time to put this in here, but this is an article, and I do want to put it on the projector and show you a few things. But this is called "The 10th Heifer." A red calf born in the Galilee brings Israel one step closer to purification and redemption. Okay, and there are some points in here that I want to bring out. I literally ran out of time to be able to get these into a slide presentation before. And likewise, the article that we have here, I'm going to bring it back up. And we're going to talk about it. We'll go to a break. All right. The seed in the feed trough. Our common fodder disqualifies Timimah. Okay, this is the article, but I encourage you to read it. You can go to Mishnah Walk and you can download it and read it. It's going to have some key things here. Now, before we'll come back, we'll read this in a minute. I want to talk before we stop for a moment. Let me just get things set up here. Hopefully. Well, my computer is not cooperating with me. All right, I'm going to have to go to plan B here. And so what I'm going to do, and I apologize about this, I just don't have another I'm not sure what's happening. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to a picture and just leave it. All right. But let me talk to y'all before we do that. The um, the cats, um, the air tag. Um, it is a valid question. Um, there will be a decision that's made. They have to see how she progresses. Um, I don't know all of the details. I mean, I have a pretty good knowledge of the holocaust concerning these things. I do want you to see what Victor had in his thing because this is going to be the issue. And but the decision isn't going to be mine. The decision is going to be Victor and Mishnah Walk or the any of the specific rabbis. It will be that they look, they examine, they will make a decision, and will follow whatever they do. And you have to remember on the temple that it is the Jewish people that build the temple. It is not the people at large. It's going to be the people that God anoints to bring forth for this. All right. I'm going to try one more time and see if I can get the thing to work. And I have no idea why. This is just not working now. Ah, I got it.
Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Active Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada, 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeach, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeach, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom. es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Active Act Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada, 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeaj, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeaj, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido.
All right.
Yeah, it's playing on YouTube, but it's not, there's no picture, only audio.
El Sanedrín se reunía para hacer.
And you don't know if it's playing on Facebook?
And on Facebook, it is not playing. Oh, same thing. Video, I mean, no video, only audio.
Un color.
Okay. Well, all right. I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay, people, I'm sorry we're having some technical problems, and I promise you, this time it's not me, it's something within the computer, okay? And so I apologize for being longer than usual on the break, but we're still dealing with issues on the computer. Okay, before we get started, remember, please be praying for Diana McClure. Okay, she is in very, very bad shape, and she has some issues with her finances that we're trying to help her with. Okay, be praying for Grayson Jeffords. Okay, and he's doing great. Be praying for Rabbi Greenbaum. He has had surgery and he's doing great. Be praying for Scott Cole. Okay, Scott has Parkinson's disease. Please be praying for Barb DeCamp. Okay, she's got cancer issues, and be praying for her. Okay, so now tonight, if you've got comments or questions, please post them. We're going to go through, and I've got some major things coming up in this presentation. And uh, I want to put up everything that is legitimate. What I'm talking about from legitimate sources on this red cow. Okay, this red calf, and you need to read and keep posted on what's happening and follow this. But the bottom line is there is a huge reversal in the Parshat Shilach. You have the part where the spies come back and the people say, we can't go. But then they decide, oh, we got to go. Okay? When God says, okay, 40 years in the wilderness, they say, we'll go now, we'll go. And that very type of thing right now is Israel is waking up to the need for God's restoration of his holy temple and his super spiritual restoration of the Jewish people in the midst of the world turning against them. And in one of the darkest periods of the history of the Jewish people, going all the way back to Abraham. We're there right now. And these things are occurring. Okay, so put your questions in, put your comments in, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe, and follow us. All right, we're going to get in because I've got more to go into, and we'll all right. All right, we've got to go forward, way forward. All right. Now, this is excerpts from the article that Victor Schultz wrote. Okay, and you need to read it because it's going to deal with how serious a matter this is, and whatever's decided, the verdict of the cow, that's going to be decided. But these are the guidelines they're going to have to follow. Okay, and so you need to read it. I spoke to Victor during the break. He's posting a link to that article in the chat. Okay, all right. The biblical standard for perfection, and that would be the word that I would use. Of course, it's going to be used in the very name Timimah, but this is what we have in the temple. Is you have to have perfection. You can't be, oh, it was our best effort. We came close. You can't do that here. Okay. So the Bible states the requirement without ambiguity. This is the statute of the law that the Lord has commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel that they bring you a red heifer, timimah, perfect, in which there is no mum means blemish, and upon which a yoke has never come. That's going to be Numbers 19:2 or Bamidbar 19:2. The sages understood timimah to demand absolute wholeness. They apply the detailed laws of mum developed for other offerings to the parah dema. And where we'll go to is the tractate Bakor out of Seder Kodashim. All right. These standards come directly from the everyday agricultural world of the land of Israel. One key benchmark involves the koshina seed from the bitter vetch plant. Multiple layers of potential disqualification now appear in the case of timimah. Bitter vetch, called koshina in the Mishnah, grew as common fodder for livestock throughout the land of Israel. Farmers fed it to cattle, including heifers. They brought the plant to produce borit koshina, the alkaline substance used in preparing the ketoret, the incense that's used in the temple. The sages chose its seed as the precise unit of measurement because every person working the land knew its size for routine handling. Upon these blemishes, may a Bechor, a firstborn, be slaughtered. This is the the text. Now, in his article, he had the text off of Sephora, which comes from Rabbi Steinsaltz's Talmud, but it has the Mishnah in there. I went ahead and used the Kahati for two reasons. One is there are extra words in the Steinsaltz text. I want to keep it specific to what was in the actual Hebrew of the Mishnah. Number two is that it was going to require an extra slide, and slides mean more time. Okay. Upon these blemishes may a bakor, a firstborn, be slaughtered. If its ear has become defective from the cartilage, but not from the skin, if it is slit, though no part is lacking, if it has a hole in it as largest as a largesse as a vetch, or if it is dried up. What is meant by dried up? Such that when pierced, it does not emit a drop of blood. Rabbi Yossi ben Meshulam says, dry, that it would crumble. In other words, it becomes flaky, okay? Like flaky, dried skin. Translation, for these blemishes, one may slaughter the firstborn. If its ear was damaged from the cartilage, but not from the skin, if it was split, even though it was not lacking, if it was pierced, milo koshina, a hole full of a koshina seed. Okay, so this is the point, is that the hole should not be bigger than a koshina seed. And in this case, the hole is bigger. It creates this question that needs to be addressed. And, you know, whether whatever they decide, they need to look at what's here. Okay. What is dried out? Any that is pierced and does not produce a drop of blood. Rabbi Yossi ben Meshulam says dried out is one that flakes. Israel must establish a clear statute for all red heifer candidates born in the land. Every such calf requires examination by qualified halakhic experts prior to any ear tagging. Okay, this is where the makom paradama comes in. This is where we're seeing things that are being put in place that we have another red heifer. Listen, the red heifer is going to come. How do we know? Because we're going to have a temple. And it's going to come, I don't believe, by man trying to manipulate. It's going to come where, when it's time, God will supply. And it might come from two white cows, a white cow and a white bull, and there you get a red heifer. A black cow and a black bull, and you get a red heifer. It's going to be a supernatural thing, I believe, when it occurs. The government should cover the full cost of this process. Agree with that. And this measure supports the national interest in restoring the temple service, and enables every Jew to fulfill his or her avodah, that means personal service, to Hashem with greater purity. You know, it's not just going to be the people of Israel, it's going to need to be the press of Israel. Okay? It's going to need to be the army of Israel, and it's going to need to be the prime minister and the cabinet and the various ministers and the Knesset. In other words, it needs to be national. Farmers already show willingness to cooperate with research institutes. A formal protocol prevents avoidable disqualifications while upholding the exacting standards the sages derive from the feed trough itself. Implementation would cost little compared to the national benefit. It demonstrates practical commitment to the biblical commandments that prepare the people for the third temple on Mount Moriah. Reforming agricultural standards around these special births and other items. I mean, agriculture has the government regulations, those government regulations where they come in conflict with the halakha recorded by the Sanhedrin in the Mishnah and in the later writings. These have to come together. A teshuvah and a healing. Reforming agricultural standards around these special births ensures that future candidates avoid ordinary interventions that compromise their status from the start. The birth of Timamah coincides with genuine advances in temple preparation. Reports from my sources confirm the Sanhedrin continues its work. Training initiatives multiply. Youth across the country dedicate themselves to readiness. These efforts deserve full support. At the same time, precision and halakhic application must match the enthusiasm. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. The sages rooted their rulings in the soil and in the daily life of Israel. They selected the koshina seed from the very fodder fed to heifers as the measure of perfection. They listed cartilage damage, splitting, piercing, and drying as separate disqualifiers because they understood the vulnerabilities of living animals in the born and field. Modern restoration efforts succeed only when they honor that same concrete reality. A distressing vision is declared to me. The church, we're going to switch now. I need to stop. Okay. Yeah. Before we go any further, we're going to switch. We're going to talk about the peace treaty then. And, but I want to review. Go to Israel 365. I want to do that. I forgot about that. So let me get this set up. And I want to show you this article and a few things here. All right. This is an article by Eliyahu Berkowitz. And if you go to Israel 365, and I just made a copy of it because of time, and you're going to have the commercials in here. But the 10th heifer, a red calf born in the Galilee, brings Israel one step closer to purification and redemption. All right. In the shadow of the ongoing war in the north, something rare has emerged from a dairy farm in the Galilee, a calf that was against every genetic expectation, entirely red. No black hairs, no white hairs, just the burnished copper color, a copper coat that has made the Parah Damah, the red heifer, one of the most sought after animals in the history of Jewish people. We'll do this pretty quick because all right. All right, so it's going to talk about what we've read so far. And I'm not going to read this. You can go back and read it on your own. I do want to mention the Yehuda Ben Zvi of the Midrash Educational Center, one of the Institute's founding members, described the moment Givon called him with the news. The genetics behind Tamina's coloring deepened the sense of the improbable. The mother was a dairy cow bred for black and white Holstein coloring. In standard cattle genetics, the black coat gene is dominant. When a black or dark coated dairy cow is crossed with a red Angus bull, the offspring will almost always express the dominant dark coloring of the mother's breed. A fully red calf emerging from such a crossing is a genetic outlier, possible in theory, but vanishingly rare in practice. Let's go forward. All right. 15 years ago, Red Heifer was born in his herd and was disqualified after black hairs were found along the edge of its body, its ears, its tail. He said to me, I have fascinating news, but also unfortunate news. We found a red heifer born in the Galil unexpectedly. I myself inseminated the parents with Black Angus. So the fact that she came out red is astonishing. Binsby recalled. It comes down to genetics. When we've been researching, which we've been researching, I'll use the word miraculous. It's not it's naturally not, it's not expected to happen so perfectly. All right. All right. The combination. Perfect coloring, unblemished physical condition, and a complete absence of use makes finding a suitable red heifer one of the rarest occurrences in Jewish ritual life. Let's Last week, Rabbi Zoria Ariel, head of the Institute's Beit Midrash and a scholar who had spent more than 15 years researching the laws of the red heifer, formerly as director of the Temple Institute's Red Heifer Project, conducted a comprehensive examination of the cat. He found her, quote, pure in redness and was encouraged by the healing rate of the affected ear. This past week, I went with Rabbi Zoria Ariel, who is our central halakhic authority, Binsby said. She really did turn out to be red in all her hairs. As for the wound from the tag, we can see it's healing very positively. A special cream was applied to help it heal, and the wound is recovering rapidly. Please God, it will heal properly. All right, let's go forward. I don't want to repeat things that we've already talked about. All right. All right, the question now before the Institute's Beit Midrash is study hall of approximately 20 Torah scholars is whether the ear's recovery from the deformity is sufficient to restore the heifer's status, or whether the moon created by the tag constituted a permanent disqualification. Binsby explained the scope of the halakhic undertaking the Institute has assembled to resolve such questions. We have 10 major issues which we are resolving, he said. We began the syllabus just a month ago. Now think of the timing, people. Think of the timing. And thank God we're already reached agreement on 2 subjects. We already talked about this. This is the status of the red heifer. I mean, the Kohen will slaughter the red heifer. And we've already discussed that. All right. We already discussed about the question, the precise halakhic definition of when a wound has sufficiently healed to restore heifer status. Okay. All right. The broader context in which Timama was born is not incidental. The National Institute was established in direct response to the increasing proximity of these preparations to real possibility. Among its founding team, alongside Rabbi Ariel and Binsby himself, the Institute sees its mission as nothing less than national transformation. We are doing everything we can to elevate the Jewish people to another stage toward full redemption, Binsby said. It goes into the 5 red heifers and then what happened there. All right, from this paragraph, from the time of Moses, who personally prepared the first heifer, until the destruction of the Second Temple, only 9 red heifers were prepared in all of Jewish history, but yet this was sufficient to maintain the ritual purity of the entire nation for nearly 2,000 years. The Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, wrote in his commentary on the commandment that the 10th red heifer will be accomplished by the king, the Messiah. May he be revealed speedily. Amen. May it be God's will. The Institute's own statement framed Timimah's birth in the language of national transformation. During the 40 years of desert wandering, the red heifer ceremony marked the transition from the generation that left Egypt to the generation that would enter the land. That is the Parshat Shalach. The generation that buried its past, literally, and emerged purified, ready for their historical destiny under the leadership of Joshua. The Institute sees an echo of that moment in the present, a nation that has spent months absorbing the losses of war, now watching as the instruments of purification take shape in the hills of Galilee. We are the Red Heifer National Institute, which brings together experts who have been working in the Red Heifer issue over the past decade. We've come together as a unit with the goal of turning the whole issue into a national event, restoring purity to the Jewish people. The location of the ceremony on the Mount of Olives, this is very interesting, is another open question before the Beit Midrash. And Ben Zvi said was careful to press into sensitive territory. The most historically precise site, the spot believed to be where the ritual was performed 2,000 years ago, is today occupied by a Christian church. And the chances of securing access to those premises are, in his words, very, very nearly impossible. The Institute has therefore focused its attention on the halakhic parameters that define an acceptable alternative. We seem to think that any place directly east of the Golden Dome is the correct place so long as it is higher than the Golden Dome, even if it is within a few tens of yards north or south, he said. We have found a specific area which falls within those limits, and we still think it is a very strong candidate. We're waiting for the Beit Midrash to reach its final conclusions, but things are moving forward, thank God, more than I would have expected. Timimah herself is 3 weeks old, born just as the Jewish calendar entered Parshat Hukai, the Torah portion that contains the commandment of the red heifer. Ben Zvi did not treat the timing as a coincidence. Okay, so the Parshat Hukai, that is chapter 19 of Bamidbar, that's the red heifer. We are a small people with an almighty God, he said, and my feeling with this subject is that he is pushing us further and greater than I would have gone with my own small hands. At the current rate of development, a qualified window for a ceremony would be possible in approximately 2 years. Ben Zvi was measured about what lies ahead. The practical preparations, we do our best, but we've realized as a National Red Heifer Institute that you need more than just the red heifer, the pure coin, and the specific space for the burning. You need national halakhic backing, national awareness and interest in the subject, and the financial capacity for a national event. If those come together in 2 years' time, we will be able to tell the Jewish people we are ready. And that is the end of it. Oh, wait, there is more. He paused and added slowly, I believe God is moving the whole story to where he wants it to go. We do our best to prepare ourselves and be acquainted with his will for the prosperity and blessing of the Jewish people in the entire world. Timimah still faces a long road to qualification. She must reach 2 years of age without developing single white hair, without carrying a yoke, and the question now foremost in the Beit Midrash, without a moon that can be healed. The tag is gone, the ear is healing, 20 scholars are studying, and at a dairy farm in northern Israel, a red calf carries a name that is also a prayer. All right. Now, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about the peace treaty. I was I am a conservative, and many of the things that President Trump has initiated, I was in support of. I still am in support of many of the things. I am not in support of the peace treaty. I've had a question, and I've had numbers of conversations with several people that I talk on these things with, and I am not saying that Trump is the false Messiah, but I do believe one of the things that I was afraid of in the prophecies on Babylon, which I believe Babylon is the United States. And you can go to Jerusalem Temple Study. And by the way, if you're interested in what we've been talking about tonight, I encourage you to take our temple course. I got all the tests graded this week, yesterday, but the computer's been out. And right now, you can go, you can look up articles or videos I've done on the Red Heifer, the temple, all of these things. And these things need to be taught. And they need to be taught. Examine what I put out and then use what will apply to what you have. But check out the material. Check it out. Make sure that the various texts I'm using say what I say they're saying. Okay. And so I believe one of the big questions, I believe that the United States is going to be destroyed. And I believe that one of the countries that will participate in the destruction is going to be Iran. I believe that Iran is part of Gog and Magog, who will attack not only the United States, but attack Europe and NATO. I believe that they will attack in the third year of the birth pains. I believe that they will attack Israel. I believe that they will basically overrun Israel. But then God will come forth and destroy that army of Gog and Magog, not the country of Gog and Magog, but that army of Gog and Magog in the land of Israel, and the Jewish people will, to the person, believe that Hashem is God. And there is a phrase that is used several times in relationship to the destruction of Babylon. And the phrase is the treacherous dealer. And it says, the treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously. From the very beginning, I have been afraid that President Trump was possibly that treacherous dealer. I supported his support for Israel and when we went into Gaza, when we went into Lebanon, when we attacked Iran. I support these things because I believe that those forces are out to destroy Israel. And I clapped, I applauded every time that he would join with Israel in turning back the terrorists and turning back the oppression. But I began to become more and more concerned as the ceasefire started and the updates that I would do with Gila Trevich and Roy Shaposhnik, which you can watch on GLC, their YouTube. But, more and more, what was coming out, nobody knows what he's doing. Israel has not participated in, they have not been invited to participate in the negotiations of this ceasefire or this peace treaty. And so I want to read these passages. There's out of chapter 21, Isaiah 21, and also Isaiah 24. And they deal with the start of the birth pains, and they deal with the destruction of Babylon, which I believe will be at the very first of the birth pains. Now, we saw a moment ago that it'll be 2 years before, if this calf becomes a red heifer, okay, and is recognized as the red heifer halakhically, okay, it's 2 years. So I don't know. I'm not saying, hey, this Rosh Hashanah, but I'm saying things are happening very fast. It's time that we need to join with Israel and be a part of what is going on. Okay, so I'm going to go into the slides, and you should have some comments. You should have some questions. All right, so we're going to go to Isaiah 21, verses 2 through 4. A distressing vision is declared to me. The treacherous dealer deals treacherously, and the plunderer plunders. Go up, O Elam, that's Iran. Besiege, O Media, that's Iran. All its sighing I am made to cease. Therefore my loins are filled with pain. Pains have taken hold of me, like the pains of a woman in labor. And this passage is identified from ages past as being the time Messiah will come, the Hevle Mashiach, the birth pains of the Messiah. I was distressed when I heard it. I was dismayed when I saw it. My heart wavered. Fearfulness frightened me. The night for which I longed, he turned into fear for me. Verses 5 through 7, and this is a key verse. Prepare the table, set a watchman in the tower. Eat and drink. Arise, you princes. And it says, anoint the shield. Now, we're going to move away from the slides. I'm going to go to the projector. I've got a stone to knock here, and we're going to go to Psalm 84, verse 10. I want you to see it. I want you to see it in English, and I want you to see it in Hebrew. And I would have put this in here if I would have had enough time, but this will work. Okay, so here is verse 10. Oh, that's why I need to go to Tehillim. Excuse me. I thought that, wait, going the wrong way. All right. 81, 82, 83, 84. All right. So we go to verse 10, and it says, look upon our shield. Okay. So verse 10 over here, this is where it starts. Maginu, Maganu, Roe, that means to look. Elohim, that's the Lord. And look upon our shield. Hear my prayer. Okay, hear my prayer. No, look upon our shield, O God, and gaze at your anointed one's face. Okay, so let me find it again. All right, and here is to gaze, Vahabat, Panay, Mishichenu. Okay, Mishihecha. Okay, upon your Messiah. That's literally what it would say. So it would say, look upon our shield, O God, and gaze at your Messiah's face. Okay? And so we're going to stop sharing that, and we're going to go back, and this will have more impact when you see it here. Okay? So let's go back to the slide. It's what it says. Prepare the table, set a watchman in the tower, eat and drink, arise, you princes, anoint the shield. That is the coronation of the Messiah. That's what we're talking about here. For thus has the Lord said to me, go set a watchman. Let him declare what he sees. And he saw a chariot with a pair of horsemen, a chariot of donkeys, and a chariot of camels. And he listened earnestly with great care. Then he cried, I am, my Lord. I stand. This is verses 8 through 10. I stand continually on the watchtower in the daytime. I've sat at my post every night, and look, here comes a chariot of men with a pair of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. And all the carved images of her gods he has broken to the ground. Oh, my threshing and the grain of my floor, that which I had heard from the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have declared to you. And when I looked at this today, I had this phrase, oh, my threshing and the grain of my floor. And I thought, wait a second. The holy temple, the altar of the temple was built on the threshing floor of Orna the Jebusite. And I went, wow, could this be? We have all these things coming together. But I believe that the United States in this treaty and not allowing Israel to defend itself against the missiles, the drones, the attacks by Hezbollah, and the coming attacks by Iran. They're told, stand down, stand down. You will not respond. Okay? Let's go back. Let's go to our slides. This is 20. That was 21 verses 2 through 10. Now we're going to 24. And so this is the second time, a second witness. Same thing is going to be said. A grievous vision is declared to me. He who desires to be treacherous may be treacherous. And he who desires to spoil may spoil. Go up, O Elam, besiege Omeday, that's Midian. All its sign have I made to cease. Therefore, my loins filled with anguish. Pangs have taken up hold upon me as the pangs of a woman in travail. I was bowed down so that I could not hear. I was dismayed so that I could not see. Therefore are my loins filled with anguish. Pains have taken a hold upon me as the pangs of a woman in travail. I was bowed down so that I could not hear. I was dismayed so that I could not see. My heart fearfulness will frighten me. The night of my pleasure has he turned for me into terror. Prepare the table, spread the carpet, eat, drink, arise, princes, and anoint the shield. Coronation of the Messiah again. But thus, as the Lord said to me, go set a watchman and let him declare what he sees. And if you should see riders, pairs of horsemen, riders on asses, riders on camels, you should hearken diligently with much heed. And he cried like a lion, my Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I stand on guard whole nights. And behold, here comes men riding pairs of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. And the carved images of our gods is broken to the ground. That is the last of it. What thus says the Lord God, it shall come to pass on that day that things shall come into thy mind. Oh, and thou shalt think an evil scheme. Sorry, I didn't do these into a better font in Hebrew. And thou shalt say, I will go up to a land of unwalled villages. Now, this is the attack against Gog and Magog. Chapter 38, verses 10 and 11. But it says that Gog and Magog will attack Israel, and it's a land of unwalled villages. I never could understand that. That who was the treacherous dealer was one of my top 3 questions outside of the temple. One of the others was, how could Israel, a land that is army everywhere, soldiers everywhere, tanks, the Air Force you see training day and night, how could it be a land of unwalled villages? Big fear. The equipment that Israeli army uses, much of it, the ammunition, the jets they fly are American jets, and the ammunition comes from the United States, the ordnance. And if the United States turns against Israel, are they going to continue to supply that ordnance? We have where all the world, Israel, will be blamed when they respond. I want to read something to you. It says, "Thou shalt say, I will go up to a land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are quiet, that dwell in safety, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates." I want to read this to you. This came today. I get it daily. Let me find it. Very short, and then we'll go to your questions. All right, here it is. Well, this wasn't what I was looking for. I might have to just tell you. You'll know it. I get a daily update from Israel, from the Israel Defense and Security Forum, and I get this regularly, but they have posted something. But basically, I'm going to tell you what it'll say because I don't want to take a lot of time here, and I'll see if I can have it for you next week. But the spokesperson, General Amir Avivi, formerly did all the lectures and the updates. He's going into political office, and so he has resigned. His replacement is a major man within the military, and he gives very good briefs. But he said that Israel is not going to be told by other nations what to do, when to do it, how to do it. That if they are attacked by Hezbollah, if they're attacked by Iran, they will respond, and they will respond with a aim to totally destroy that enemy. That the people of Israel, the inhabitants of Israel, will be safe. These are major things. And this all occurring. We have, on one hand, we have good news. On the other hand, we have bad news. But all of this is in the plan of God. And so we go forward. And I want to see what your comments and your questions are. If you like what you've heard tonight, please hit the like button. And also share it. This will help us tremendously. All right. Let me stop, and I'm going to try to play the video after we get finished, but I don't know if it'll play. We'll just have to do a try. All right. All right. Lisette Valdez. All right. Shalom to you. And Janet Meadows, shalom from Georgia, and shalom to her. Okay. Betty Brush and Deb Galecta Heath, both from Wisconsin, from Beth Emanuel. And Mike Fincher from Montana. Richard, I got your message. I just haven't been able to reply back from it, but I'll try to give you a call tomorrow or the next day to see if we can get your app working. Okay, Jeff Fosberg from Lansing, Michigan. And there's Barb DeCamp. Remember, please be praying for her. She's got a number of issues going on right now. Brenda Kreitz from Kansas. Eliezer Vasquez from New York, Long Island. Very good. We pray for you in New York for sure. Tim Smalley from West Central Indiana. And Tim, I saw y'all were in danger of a bunch of tornadoes. So Scott Paddock from Huron, Ohio. And I'm hoping the volume was okay. And Gabrielle from Big Dallas. Enrico's here. All right, very good. I think Rico's going to do a YouTube or a podcast. I think he's got some interviews lined up on this Red Heifer. Okay. Volume's a little low. All right. Elka Espino Diaz del Castillo from Shalom to you, and Daryl Wade from Kansas. Of course, Victor from Missouri. Gabe Silliman from Washington State. And we've been trying to help our friend Diana McClure, who lives in Tacoma. Linda Lee from North Carolina. Linda, it's good to have you here. Frank Arturo, this question may not be related to the topic, but since there are commandments in the Torah that applies to certain individuals, in other words, men, women, Levites, priests, proselytes, etc., is it wrong for Christians or believers in Yeshua to not keep the Torah and only follow the Noahide laws since they are Gentiles, obviously observing Christmas and Easter and other holidays rooted in pagan worship? Well, let me answer that. First off, the last sentence right there is really telling. One of the things that I don't care who you are, if you are a follower of Hashem, you are to not observe idolatrous practices. And so the I believe that this on believers in Yeshua do not keep the Torah and only follow the Noahide laws since they are Gentiles. I don't believe personally that that's what we're told in Acts 15 or Acts 21. I believe that we follow the Torah and we follow the Torah of the commandments that apply to us. Okay. And so I'll leave it at that for right now. Oops. I believe that if you follow Hashem, that you should eat kosher. Okay. And I believe that you should keep the Shabbat, you should keep the festivals. Okay. All right. And thank you for the thank you. All right. And I'm going to try to give y'all a call and give y'all an update on the computer. It's just been pretty crazy over here from Port Neches. All right. Let's see what we have. Oh, Dan Solis. Always glad to see you, Dan. And Mary Beth Children, another one from Alabama. And I'm sure you're wet too, and we are soaked. And thank you, Betty. And Victor has put up the where you can see the article that I read a little bit of. All right, we'll see if we need to do that about change the music. Okay. Kathy Murray, Kathy and Don Murray. And Daryl Parks. Daryl ran my office for years and years. He is a great friend and an old comrade. I don't mean old in the sense of old, but all right. Not only is the son circumcised on the 8th day, but that's also when he is given a name. It's almost as if the son doesn't exist until the 8th day officially. That's a great comment, Daryl. Very good. Karen Salter. And Karen, her husband used to be on our staff too. He built our first models of the temple. And she was going to come here for Shabbat this weekend, but was unable to because of work schedule. Not that she works on Shabbat, but just so much work leading up to it, she couldn't get away. All right, Teresa Anderson, very good. All right, Denise Perez, shalom, everyone. We cannot teach the class with Spanish subtitles. However, on YouTube, I believe it's on YouTube, and Gabriel can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can go back and watch it, and you can choose to have the Spanish subtitles in there. Okay, not when it's live, but following. Okay. Right. Okay. He did answer already. All right. And I'm very glad that we have that. And you can ask your questions in Spanish and we can translate them. And Margot and Howard Dahl from Tennessee. All right, Mary Beth Children. If the decision is made that the heifer is pure via man's interpretation here on earth, will Hashem give his approval? And if not, how will we know? What will be the results if the heifer is used as an imperfect specimen? Okay, my personal opinion is that this heifer is going to put momentum. It's going to become more and more evident. I think that other issues will arise. In fact, I suspect that the reason, this calf had a supernatural birth. It was born at a supernatural time. It was born not only with Porshat Shalach, it was born at the time that this peace treaty was all coming together and the people needed to go towards the temple. There's been timing and timing and timing. Everything's miraculous. I don't think that it was so much an accident that a hole was put in because it brings up the need for a legitimate Sanhedrin. And so I think that the Sanhedrin will be around the corner and we're going to see a different day. Now, I think that as major a question as this, that it will be the Sanhedrin. Once the Sanhedrin makes a ruling, whether they're right or wrong, that will be recognized by heaven. Whatsoever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. And you think, oh, that's from I think it's from the Gospels, okay? But that is a saying in reference to the Sanhedrin, and that is the understanding that God said, whatever they put, we are to follow, okay? And it will be recognized. So hopefully that will be the case. When the scriptures speak of God pouring out his spirit on all flesh, will that outpouring remove anti-Semitism and awaken souls to align with Israel? I believe so. I believe so. Okay, this is Victor Joel was signed by the Holocaust, which seemed to indicate that the calf was already done as a candidate. However, I am excited that there might be an opening due to consensus by all the people. It, I wouldn't even call it a candidate yet. I would say there is a potential candidate based upon the rulings and how they see. And so I personally I'm very excited about what is happening. I believe that the bottom line, and I think this most significant thing I can say is God is in control of all that are happening here. And so I think, we'll see what happens. Okay, can you elaborate and provide the Hebrew reference? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what your which reference you're asking for, and the elaboration. I'm not sure. If you can write a note real quick and give me a little bit of guideline there. Okay. Dana Betts. Fascinating topic. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Shalom from Washington State. All right. People will, I'll say if Victor writes that real quick. All right. All right. Signed by the Holocaust, which seemed to indicate that the calf was already done as a candidate. However, opening due to consensus of by all the people. I am too. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're asking me to elaborate on. Can you elaborate and provide the Hebrew reference? Okay, I will go ahead and close this for tonight, and I'll talk to Victor and see if I can give some clarification next week. Okay. Thank everyone. I thank all of you for being with me, and I hope that you got some benefit from what we looked at tonight. All right. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, mi nombre es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Active Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada de 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeach, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeach, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro, para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom. Shalom, mi nombre es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Active Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada de 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeach, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeach, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom. nombre es Gabriel Gallegos. Saludos a todos aquellos seguidores de Active Ministries, en especial a nuestra comunidad latina. El día de hoy queremos compartir con ustedes uno de los artículos más impresionantes que podemos tener en nuestra tienda virtual. Te invitamos a que te quedes y a conocer más del modelo tridimensional del templo. Les presento el nuevo modelo del templo. Una de las cosas adicionales que se han agregado en esta impresión es esta base donde está de una manera inclinada de 45 grados. ¿Para qué? Para que pueda enseñarse mejor a nuestra audiencia. O si usted, al igual que a mí, le gusta ponerlo de la manera tradicional y ponerlo en una superficie plana, pues también puedo hacerlo. De esta manera usted lo puede poner en su oficina o en su lugar de estudio o en su lugar de reunión. ¿Para qué? Para que la gente pueda admirar la gran maravilla de lo que se ha podido llegar a hacer. Ahora les voy a invitar a que me sigan acompañando para mirar las siguientes adiciones que se le han agregado a este nuevo modelo. Uno de los nuevos aspectos de este nuevo modelo tridimensional son los colores que se han añadido, como el color oro, el color blanco, un café y un café un poquito más claro. Podemos mirar el color blanco en los 15 escalones que están en el atrio de las mujeres, como también en las 4 lámparas. Podemos mirar el color blanco en el misbeach, en el altar, como también en los 2 escalones que están entre el ulam y el altar. Podemos encontrar este color blanco también en estos pequeños mikvaot o también baños de inmersión que se han añadido. También podemos apreciar en el misbeach, el altar, se agregaron a color las 3 fogatas y en el centro podemos encontrar de color café más claro las cenizas del altar. Otro de los buenos beneficios de este modelo es de que los edificios adicionales, el techo puede ser removido. En el edificio sureste podemos mirar cómo el área donde el Sanedrín se reunía para hacer sus juicios, y también se ha agregado un color azul en donde está el lavacro para así poder distinguir las diferentes áreas. Les agradecemos mucho a cada uno de ustedes, especialmente a la comunidad latina, por estarnos acompañando. Pueden ir a Jerusalem Temple Studies y buscar la opción tienda o store en inglés y luego buscar modelos del templo y ahí podrán obtener el suyo. Bendiciones y gracias por su apoyo. Shalom.